Severe weather across our country puts it in context for us when we talk about our more mild conditions that we have here in San Diego. Yes, we have had a spring and now a start to summer of notoriously cooler and cloudier conditions than what we're used to. But when you consider what's happening in other parts of the country, and especially when you consider right now what's happening in Texas with all week long us covering those high temperatures around 110 to 115 degrees, well, it puts our upper 60s and low 70s back into context there. So we are going to have another morning with that marine layer on hand. Marine layer clouds are going to slowly burn off as we head through the late morning, early afternoon stretch, and you can see how those clouds will break apart, give us some more of that sunshine. A couple showers right off of our coastline that we'll continue to incorporate into the forecast, but there's a very minimal chance that any of these, as they make their way onshore, will really produce any accumulating rain, meaning anything over 1/100th of an inch. So while we watch these showers right off of our coast, they'll start to also deteriorate, and that'll be closer to 8, 9, 10 a.m. before we pick up on a lot more sunshine into the afternoon forecast. Not a lot changing in the big term, the big picture, long-term models. Ridge of high pressure that is over Texas, that's what's been producing that oppressive heat. Trough of low pressure right off of our coastline of California, and these two stay largely stationary between today and Tuesday of next week, and that puts us right in the middle here. So that puts us at average, and in many cases getting more of the influence from that cooler than average low pressure system. Over the course of the weekend, we will get that ridge starting to nudge in our direction, and that'll help encourage a little bit of a warm up inland, but it is not until we get into about Thursday of next week that we start to see that trough turn into more of a ridge. So it takes that trough exiting and that ridge starting to build there for us to start to see more warm temperatures in our area. And that's going to happen again in the middle of next week, that we really start to feel more summer-like weather on hand. Forecast highs today are going to be in the upper 60s along our coastline, low 70s inland. Normal would be low 70s along our coast, upper 70s, low 80s inland. So again, this is still a deviation from normal by about 5 to 10 degrees for the most part. On the 8-day forecast, though, we start to move into that range as we get into next week. So between today and about Wednesday, we're still going to stay in the upper 60s for our coastal communities, start to break into the low 70s by Thursday, Friday, so this time next week. And then across our inland valleys, we'll get that taste of 80s yet again, more sunshine around that time frame too. Mountains and deserts are still working through a lot of wind today. Wind advisory remains for another just over half hour. And then even though it expires, we're all still going to feel those gusty onshore winds that are keeping those temperatures cooler between today and the weekend. Saturday, Sunday, still pretty comfortable out there. 74 across the mountaintops, back to the triple digits for the deserts. We go from 101 tomorrow afternoon all the way to 110 by the time we get to Friday of next week. So that's where you're really going to notice that warm up and plenty of sunshine carrying on over through next week across the mountains and deserts as well. Carrie?